Man, I had to definitely pull over for a few minutes because it is storming like crazy around here. I got a bunch of errands I got to do, and I couldn't. Like, I saw a tree fall down like right in front of me, and I figured that's a sign. Go find a place to sit down for a minute. And you know, I've had a lot of things on my mind, so I wanted to share them here in the car. Let's talk in the car. I never do this. So is that cool? I think it's cool. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who watched the last video that I did in honor of Karim Rome, who passed away a few days ago. 30 years old, amazing musician, equal parts amazing human being. I would have to say that his funeral was literally the first time that I've ever been to a funeral where I felt better when I left. Like, the Islamic priest or minister or whatever he is was incredible. The people there were amazing. It was almost confusing. You know, it was like, it was so beautiful, but it was so tragic all at the same time. Which is the way a reviewer once characterized one of my plays, a beautifully tragic love story. That's what it felt like the other day. It was beautiful. I met some amazing people. Shout out to everybody who was there, but I really appreciate everybody watching the video. You know, I didn't really put much effort into it. I just kind of threw it out there real quick. And, but it came from the heart. I shot the whole thing probably in 20 minutes. Just threw some footage together that I shot with my phone when I was there. So was it my greatest video ever? Of course not, but I wanted to document exactly how I felt that day, and so I just wanted to do it quickly, and I didn't really have enough time to make an epic production. So that's Kareem. Rest in peace, man. You were an amazing kid. Watch the video if you want to learn more about him. Also, I want to say this. A great man died the same day that Kareem died, or within 24 hours. I don't know if it was the exact same day, but a man named Tom Chesek. Now, Tom Chesek was a journalist and a writer and a curator, a historian, and just an amazing human being, you know, from Asbury Park, New Jersey, or from that area. I don't know if he was from Asbury, but he lived in Asbury Park. He ran the Stephen Crane House, and for those of you who don't know, Stephen Crane was a famous novelist, and Tom was a Stephen Crane historian, actually. And he curated that space as a museum, thanks to Frank D'Alessandro, who placed him there and allowed him to be there. And shout out to Frank. Tom and Frank actually have been so kind to me over the years, so welcoming, so incredibly inviting of me and my work. Like when I lived in Asbury Park for like 3 years, and the first place that I ever performed down there was in the Stephen Crane House, a tiny little space. Probably, you know, it's supposed to hold about 25 people or something like that, but it seemed like every time I performed there were like 60, 70, 80 people crammed into that little room. And the energy in there was like indescribable. It was so it was magnificent. You know, it was hard to really put into words. You know, like Coltrane, think of Miles Davis playing around midnight. That's what it felt like in there. It was like this intense, beautiful, intimate space. And, you know, there was an organization down there called ArtsCap, which is an arts organization, obviously, from their name. A woman named Carol Senovitis was one of the first people that I met when I went down there as well. And I'll never forget the first time I ever performed there. I got a call from Carol, and she was like, "We'd like to support you and help with your reading." I was doing a reading of a new play. And, you know, being from New York City and being a little paranoid, I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "We just want to support you. You're new to town. You're an artist. We just want to help. You know, we want to be there for you." And I'm like, "I don't have any money." She's like, "Well, we're not asking you for any money. We just like to be there." So I was like, okay. You know, like, okay. You know, I was a little reticent. Anyway, I show up. There's like a spread of food out there, and I mean like real food that you could eat for dinner. You know, I guess they had also kind of followed me on social media, and they saw that I had this love for black and white cookies because of my mother and all this stuff. And so they actually had black and white cookies there and brownies, and it was unbelievable. They invited all these people, and so it was a room. I didn't know anybody down there when I first moved there. It was just a room filled with love, you know. I met, shout out Vivian Taormina, who has Tower Massage, a great business down there. I met her down there that day. I met a lot of people that day. And, man, it was just, you know, I can't explain what it's like for when a community embraces you. You know, I'm an adoptee. I'm a loner. I lead a pretty isolated life, but I crave true, real, genuine connection with people. You know, that's the one thing I love about performance. You know, to me, I crave that. You know, I desire it all the time, and the main reason is I get to hang out with people. You know, and wow, I'm getting a little emotional even thinking about this. But the first time I went down there and they did that, I felt like these people really. Like they don't want anything from me. They just came here to really support me. They, you know, I'm not famous. They don't know anything about me, but they just came here and they were like, yo, we're Asbury Park, welcome. You know, I met Stephen Bishop Seeley, Lou Liberatore, you know, I mean, Jason Cicino, John Kaplow. I mean, some of these people have been so supportive of me in ways that I don't even deserve, you know. There was a theater down there called the Showroom. And I'll never forget, you know, the first time I walked in, they were building the theater like it wasn't even open yet. And a guy named Michael Sedano owned the space, and he was renovating it. And I just, you know, I kind of looked inside, and it was like a construction site. And this guy walks out, he's like, may I help you? With a big smile on his face. And I was like, hi, you know, my name is Rock. He said, you know, I'm Michael Sedano, and, you know, this is our new theater. You know, we're opening up an art house. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. You know, are you going to do any live performance here? And he goes, hadn't thought about it. I said, well, I would love to perform here. Like, maybe I could do a reading of my new play. And he just looked at me and went, yes. And I was like, yes? He goes, yeah, let's do it. And so I had so many amazing experiences performing in that theater. Special space. Magical, sacred art space. Very similar to the Medicine Show in New York City, where I met Barbara Vann, my theater mother, who just handed me the keys after the first time I performed there. And I'm not going to get into all that right now. And this video is actually becoming something completely different than what I planned. But I wanted to talk about Tom Chesek and how Chesek often wrote about me, because he wrote for, you know, all the New Jersey newspapers, you know. But he also wrote for all the little local papers around Asbury Park. Excuse me. And, but he wrote for some of the bigger papers up in Newark and places like that as well. And he always wrote about me. And I used to tell people, I'll never forget the first review he wrote about me. I said, yo, this is like Hemingway wrote about me, you know, or Arthur Miller. Like, this is not your average reviewer or journalist or whatever. This guy really researched me, learned me. He spoke to me on the phone, and he wrote beautiful, like, literary magic. And so, man, aside from the fact that he welcomed me and hosted me so often down in Asbury Park and always said yes, aside from the fact that I have had some of the deepest and most meaningful conversations of my life with this man about art, mainly about art, you know, it just shows you how fleeting life is. I mean, this guy died in his sleep. You know, he just went to bed a couple of nights ago and he was gone, you know, and I'm assuming his lovely wife found him, maybe his daughter, I don't know, you know. But it's so incredibly sad. But I got to tell you, if there was ever a life well lived, Tom Chesek is that life. A great man, a really fair, compassionate, empathetic human being, a really smart guy, a cultured, eclectic human being. He loved music. He loved all kinds of art. So I like to dedicate, I do this all the time, like every day that I work. And I work on my craft every day. I rehearse every day. I write every day, every single day of my life. And I always like to dedicate each day to somebody else. And I don't shout them out and I don't say anything, but it's part of my spiritual practice every morning that I choose somebody in my life or somebody who's inspired me that I don't know. I choose them to dedicate that day of my work to them. And so that way I'm like accountable to somebody, because if it's somebody who inspired me or somebody I love or somebody I know, whatever, I'm not going to let them down. It ain't all about me. You know what I mean? I never, well, I shouldn't say I never let myself down, because I've certainly let myself down in my life sometimes. But if I'm dedicating something to somebody else, I'm not going to let them down. I'm just not going to do it. So I dedicate this entire week to Kareem and Tom Chesek. And Mr. Chesek, this is for you right now. I don't know anything about, I haven't heard anything about funeral arrangements or a memorial or anything like that. Maybe I'll hear about it, but because I'm not in Asbury Park anymore, I'm pretty far away. I am in contact with some people down there, so hopefully somebody will get in contact with me. But if not, it doesn't really make a difference. I don't stand on ceremony like that. Certainly if I hear about it, I'd like to be there. But Tom Chesek, man, you gave me so much. I could, I often thought I could never repay this man. Like, this is incredible, So if you're interested in some of his writing, go to my website and you'll see a lot of reviews or a lot of articles about me written by Tom Chesek. And I'm telling you, if you ever wanted, like John Steinbeck to write a story about you, it was Tom Chesek. I was very, very fortunate. So the other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, and thanks for hanging in there with me while I put all that out there. I wanted to talk about how, and this is going to be really quick because, I've used quite a bit of time already. I think it's like 20 minutes long already. Maybe I should end it right here. You know what? I'm going to end it right here, and I'm going to make another video another time, because that should stand on its own on this beautiful rainy day. And I got to tell you, one of the things that I love most about my home, New York City, not my home now, but always my home in my heart, was the architecture. To me, New York City has some of the most beautiful architecture in the world. I think everybody would agree with that. Even though a lot of it's been deaded and, gentrification has destroyed a lot of it, there's still a ton of it left. The Chrysler Building, the Empire State Building. Go to the Bronx and just see all these old, beautiful homes and buildings and factories, and go throughout Brooklyn and Queens and even Staten Island, like Manhattan. There is so much amazing architecture. But I moved upstate, and I got to say that I'm living in Poughkeepsie, New York, and the architecture here is astounding. It is absolutely beautiful. It's breathtaking sometimes. The street art is amazing. The community up here is pretty cool. I don't really know a lot of people up here yet, and I haven't really gotten involved with much up here with regards to the community. But certainly my landlords are like the center of the universe up here, so shout out to them. And my friend Gold, who told me about the apartment that was available up here, she is Poughkeepsie practically. Poet laureate for a long time, although now my landlord, Pina, is the poet laureate of this area. So how crazy is that? That I was brought here by a poet laureate. Now I'm living with a poet laureate, or not living with, but living under a poet laureate. But I got to say, the architecture up here, so beautiful, so amazing. So I'm grateful to be here. So yeah, I'm going to end this video right now, and I will have another video in a couple of days about the other thing that I was thinking about, which is, sometimes I think you might be addicted to YouTube. And I know I'm speaking for myself. You get addicted to YouTube, and this can be a good thing. It could be a good thing. But you're going to get to the point where you all of a sudden have absolutely no interest in watching the content that you have been absolutely addicted to for a long time. And I'm going to explain why that is the best part of being addicted to YouTube, and why that is the moment that your head and your heart explode. So back soon with that. Thanks for watching. By the way, as of this video, I am one human being away from having 400 subscribers, so somebody please subscribe. Get me to 400, 100 more, I can monetize this channel, which will be very exciting for me. And I really appreciate everybody who comes by here, so I'll see you soon. That's it for today. All right.